Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are at day 20 of our 30-day Pilates journey, finding your center. I'm Cailin. Thanks so much for joining me here again today. I can't believe we are already at day 20. This is just flying by. So today we are going to slow it down a bit again and work on our flexibility. We're going to start at the feet and kind of work our way up, or start our ankles and kind of work our way up the body. So, you know, we've, again, been working really hard. Always important to stretch it out. Got to stay mobile. So important, that flexibility in not only keeping ourselves healthy and our muscles pliable, and but just in just feeling better and moving better. I think we all know that when we're feeling too tight and too constricted, it's not a good feeling. So take this time today to just release and relax as we move through the breath and through these exercises. So we're going to go ahead and start on our backs. So go ahead and bring yourself all the way down, and we're going to start working through the ankles. Now I'm going to bring my leg up to the sky. If yours does not work there, feel free to kind of leave it down on the mat and just work through your ankle movements that way. So if you're still feeling a little bit tight in your hamstrings, but otherwise, keep your left foot on the mat, draw your right leg up to the sky, and hold on behind your thigh. Now, if you're kind of like rounding up this way to get up there, you probably want to bring your foot to the mat, okay? All right, but wherever you're at, I just want you to point and flex the ankles. Or sorry, yeah, point and flex the foot, starting to move through that ankle joint here. Good. We'll probably already start to feel the stretch in the back of the calf as well. Good. Just letting everything else go, right? If you find that your shoulders are way up by your ears, or you're even tensing in your jaw or in your forehead, try to release everything else. And then move into some ankle circles. Often we find that we're tighter here than we ever thought that we were, because we don't do this usually enough to find this mobility. Now go ahead and reverse those circles. So if you did day 19 yesterday, right, that get warm Pilates, this is gonna be a nice kind of stretch after that. Good. Now from here, I want you to come up on, if your leg is down, go ahead and bring that leg up now. And then grab on wherever you can, and this time you will lift up a little bit, finding that hamstring stretch. Right, so we're trying to keep the shoulders down, and we flex through that ankle so we can get a little bit deeper into that hamstring. If you're like me, you're feeling this all along the back of the leg here. Maybe you're just holding on to the back of the thigh and doing this, and that's perfectly fine too, right? Just hanging out back here. Wherever you're at. Good, take one more breath. And then lower down if you're lifted, place that foot on the mat. And just see how one side feels a little bit different than the other. So we're gonna start to move to that other side, finding the movement in the ankle first. So just that pointing and flexing. Good, again, notice if anything else is feeling tight or tense. And then start to move the ankle into the circles. Again, just noticing maybe where it feels extra tight. And then go ahead and reverse those circles. Good. Good, and then flexing through that ankle, lifting the leg if it's not already lifted. And then grabbing on either to the back of the thigh or the calf or wherever you can, just to find that deeper hamstring stretch. Good. Good, one more breath. And then release it. Good, bending that knee, placing it on to the floor. All right, I want you to go ahead and roll onto the side and then come into all fours. We're still working on the lower half of the body here first. So I want you to take your right foot and you're gonna tuck your toes under, extend that right leg, bring your toes onto the floor. And you're staying nice and strong and stable in your center. And you're just gonna start to rock here forward and back. So you should be feeling this at the ankle and in the calf as you move forward and back here. So we're just finding again that stretch in the Achilles and in the calf. Good. Come onto your forearms if you need to for this. Good. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now I am going to come down to my forearms for this next one. Keep that leg still back, but you're going to cross it over so it's along the, or to the left side of your mat. And you're going to keep pressing that heel away from you as you press your arms kind of away from you as well, or keeping your forearms grounded and then pressing your upper body away from your forearms. Keeping the shoulders down. Again, feeling this in your calf here. Good, now go ahead and release that. Come back up onto your hands, bringing that right leg under the body. And now you're gonna come all the way up onto the knees and then send that right leg forward and you're gonna straighten it. So we're getting into more of a hamstring stretch here. So up on your knee, your left knee, that right leg is coming forward. And then we're gonna start to hinge forward. So really think of sending your bum back as you hinge your upper body forward. So you can get those hands to the floor while still trying to keep as flat a back as possible with the shoulders pulling down and back, right? And I wanna keep this flat back here. Seeing if with each exhale, we can just sink just a little bit deeper. Pulling that right hip back a little bit more. Feeling that length more from heel to glute. Good, 1 more breath, just like that. All right, so go ahead and come all the way up, but go ahead and bring this right knee back under, come back onto your hands and knees. We're gonna do all that on the other side. So you're gonna send that left leg back long onto the toes. Good, find your center and then start to rock forward and back here. Good, again, just getting a little extra movement here in the ankle, a little extra stretch in the calf. Good. That's it. Good, now come onto the forearms and we're gonna cross that left leg over to the right side of the mat as you sink back into that heel, pressing away. Good, keeping the shoulders down. So all this work that we've done with our center, right, it's amazing. We want to stay focused on it, but we don't take our time to stretch and to stay mobile and to stay flexible and spend some time just doing something like this where we can really breathe deeply and sink a little bit deeper into the stretches. So we do get quite a bit of stretching and flexibility throughout our Pilates routine, but it's always nice to take the time to take a special, say 20, 30, whatever, however much time you have to spend solely on that flexibility, that mobility, and trying to do that every day if you can. All right, so coming all the way up, we're gonna send that left leg forward now for that hamstring stretch. So hips are squared off, right? Spine is tall and lifted, and then we start to hinge forward as we kind of stick our bum back behind us. bring our fingertips to the mat if we can. This is going to be really hard for a lot of people. This is where a set of blocks would come in handy if you can't get your hands all the way to the floor. Or maybe you keep your hands on your hips as you fold over. Maybe tuck your toe under on your back foot to find a little bit more stability. So lots of options here. And again, keep pulling that left hip back so you can find as much length on the back of that leg. Good, one more breath. Good, bring yourself all the way back up. And then bring that leg under the body. Come back into all fours. Come forward onto your knees, so you're in a kneeling plank. And then lower yourself all the way to the mat. And we're gonna do a nice quad stretch here. So now working more into the front of the leg. We're gonna bend our right foot. Actually, let's do this first. Make sure your knees are together. So your legs should be close together. We're gonna bend the right foot, reach back, and grab the foot with the hand, with the right hand. And then you're gonna bring your forehead down to the mat. You can use your other hand as a little pillow. And we're gonna keep our legs together and our knees as we press the pelvis and the hips into the mat and pull the belly up. So we're trying to think of lengthening that lower back to stretch the hip flexor and the quad here. You're gonna feel this mostly in your quad. So if we let our bum kind of stick up, that's not going to be getting into the quad. You really want to press the hips down and stay engaged in your glutes as you bend the knee in. Now, if this is just not doable for you, feel free to maybe come to a standing position and just pull that heel up towards your bottom. And standing, still keeping the knees together, still pressing the hips forward, engaging the glutes. Okay, now slowly release it with control. Don't let it slingshot back. We're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. Again, knees staying together. So the two key points for getting into the stretch appropriately is legs together, hips pressing down, and glutes engaged. Maybe that's 3 points. 3 points. Good. You'll be able to feel here, I'm sure, which one of your quads is tighter than the other. Good, let's do one more breath here. Good, and then again, slowly release. All right, start to press into your hands as you come back into all fours. And then come back up onto your knees again. And we're gonna send this let's see, left leg forward. And we're gonna stay here with this right knee on the mat. We're gonna find a little hip flexor stretch. So with this hip flexor stretch, we're gonna stay more upright, right? We're not gonna come way down to the floor because I want you to think of really engaging through the glute, just like we did with the quad, and lifting up here. So think our core is lifted and we're lengthening our lower back. Okay, and that should really get deep into here. So I don't want you to focus so much on kind of bending this other knee. It's staying lifted through the quad, through the hip flexor, through your center. And then once you're there, maybe you take that right arm up to the sky and you reach it overhead. And what that's doing is lengthening more of this side body and that hip flexor. Good, just take a couple breaths here. Last one. Good, come back up to center. And we're gonna come all the way onto that right knee back up, bring that left knee down. We're gonna switch to the other side. So right leg comes forward. Same rules apply here. So if we just let the hips sink down. We're hanging out too much in the joints there. We want to get into the muscles. And that's where pulling up into our center, right? Lifting from our quad, engaging the glutes here. So think left glute is really engaged. And once you've got that, you should be able to feel that hip flexor stretch. If you want to add that extra, lift up and out of that hip first with that left arm, and then reach over to the other side. Good, not losing that foundation, that base that you set. Good. And then go ahead and bring that hand down. Bring this right knee back. All right, we're gonna get a little deeper into the hips now, the outer hips, with a half pigeon pose. Now, if this doesn't work for you, just come onto your back and do your figure 4 stretch, okay? So you may be familiar with pigeon from yoga, so if you know it, we're gonna move into that. Otherwise, you can listen to my cueing as we go ahead and get set up into this position. So let's start with this left leg first. So we're gonna start to come onto our hands as we bring ourselves forward, and then we're gonna take this left leg and start to bring it under the body. And then eventually you're gonna bring it all the way under so that you can sink your hips down and send this right leg back. I want you to flex through that left ankle, and we're trying to square the hips off. This is the hard part, and we just opened the hip flexors. Hopefully it feels a little bit easier here. And we're trying to keep our pelvis square and the rest of our body squared off towards the floor as we start to come forward over that leg. So we're trying to kind of pull the right hip forward, pull the left hip back, and just hang out wherever you can. Maybe you're still up here, that's fine, and maybe you're on your back in a figure 4 stretch. If you are, just cross your left ankle over your right knee and then pull that right leg, that thigh in towards you, and you get a beautiful glute, hip, and piriformis stretch. Good. So slowly working our way up the body here. Good, relaxing through those shoulders. Good. And then on your next breath, you're gonna go ahead and press yourself up. Good, start to come onto that right leg as you lift up a little bit higher so you can sweep that left leg back. And then we're gonna switch to the other side. So again, coming forward, we're gonna start to bring that right leg forward. And again, if you're on your back, just switch legs for that figure 4 stretch. Now, again, squaring the hips off, right? Pulling right hip back, left hip forward. And start to come forward. Now, I always know this is my tight side. That's why I did my left side first. Right, I guess I was being a little selfish because I feel so much more comfortable. So this is definitely a lot harder, right? I know I need to work on this side here. But just try to breathe into it, try to release, and try to just let yourself go just a little bit more with each exhale. This is a really hard stretch for a lot of people. So again, if you're in your figure 4 stretch, that is perfectly fine. You're gonna get the same stretch there. And on your next exhale, go ahead and start to press into your hands and press yourself all the way up so you can swing that right leg back again. And now we're in an all fours position here. And I want you to start to move through cat into child's pose. So what that means is we're going to take our exhale around through our spine. Good. And then inhale as we sink the hips back, coming into our child's pose. And then we exhale as we round back forward. Good. Staying in that cat pose. And then coming back into child's pose. Good, and then coming back forward into cat. Good, and then round, scoop the belly, lift, bring the hips back. Good, and again. Good, and back. Let's do one more. So here we're now working into the lower back here, stretching out the lower back, lower spine. Good, coming back up onto the hands and knees. Now start doing some spinal circles, right? Where we move the whole body. This nice big circle here. Maybe you do barrel rolls, maybe you stick with that child's pose to cat, whatever feels good. I'm just trying to loosen up the spine even more, finding more of that mobility all the way up. Good, and then we go ahead and reverse it. That's it. One more. Good, now keep your hips over your knees here as much as possible. Walk your hands forward, staying on the fingertips. And I'm gonna walk my knees back a little bit. And I want you to let your chest sink down. Maybe your forehead comes to the mat. And keeping onto the fingertips here, you should be lifting up kind of underneath your armpits from the floor. So we're trying not to sink down too much under the armpits there. And you should feel this stretch in your back, but also in the front of your chest and your shoulders. Good, don't let your back dump down, so stay lifted, right, with your ribs. Good, one more breath. Good, start to press into your hands as you walk the hands back. And we're gonna do a little thread the needle now, getting a little bit more into the shoulders. So I want you to take this left arm, I want you to twist open, reaching it up to the sky, and then round, bringing that arm under the body. Go ahead and plant your left side of your head, right? Looking up towards the ceiling if you can. Pull that right hip back and really feel this deepening into the back of that left shoulder. Good. One more breath here. Good, now press into that hand. We're gonna go ahead and switch to the other side. So now that right arm lifts up, and then we bring it under the body. And again, try to come onto the back right side of your head, pull your left hip back, and try to sink down into this. Good. One more breath. Okay, go ahead and press now into your left hand, coming back up into all fours. All right, so come back down onto your belly. So lowering yourself all the way down. We're just gonna get a deeper shoulder stretch, this time in the front of the shoulder and the chest. So I'm gonna cactus my right arm on the floor. And you can decide to extend it if that's more comfortable. And you're gonna place your left hand on the floor just to press into it. As you bend your left knee, rotate so that your left toe comes onto the mat with that knee bent. Now you should already feel this in that right shoulder. Again, come out of it and straighten the arm instead if this does not feel good, but this should feel like a really, really deep stretch. This is a spot that I'm extremely tight, where we all tend to get a little bit tight, especially if we're doing a lot of work on our computer and we have that kind of rounded forward posture. Good, one more breath. Good, slowly come out of this. And we're gonna go ahead and switch to the other side. So left arm in either goalpost or straight across. Bend your right leg. Good, twist over. as you bring that right foot back behind you. Already, I can see that this left side is so much tighter. I feel like I can barely get this right leg back behind me. This is a good one to do also against a wall if you're just not feeling it here on the floor, if just too difficult. There's always an option, right? There's always another way to get this stretch. And then go ahead and come all the way out. All right, now that we open up the front of the shoulders a little bit, go ahead and bring your forehead to the mat. So we're still in our belly. Good. And then pull the belly in and up, lengthening the lower back. Just gonna get a nice kind of Cobra stretch here, swan. Drawing the shoulders down, starting to lift through the heart and the chest. We're just gonna hold this here. So pull the belly up, right? We don't wanna be letting the belly go to sink into the back. Keep the head in line with the spine. Pull the head of the arm bones back and bring your elbows closer to your sides. Good, one more breath. And then lower it all the way down. Go ahead and clasp your hands behind your back. And we're just gonna do one big lift here, lifting the legs, lifting the arms, lifting the upper body. Good, rolling again, the shoulders open. Good, deep breath. And then lower it all the way down. All right, press into your hands to come back up into all fours. So now we're continuing by moving on to the wrists here, just getting some wrist stretches. So I'm gonna turn my top of my hands to face the mat. And if this is too much, right, feel free to come back into seated and just do these stretches here, taking a little bit of pressure off of the wrists if this is just too much for you, okay? So either way, your choice. I just want you to keep the arms straight. Good, relax through the shoulders. If you are on your knees, you're kind of, or if you're on your all fours, you're kind of sitting back onto your heels, or as much as you can. As you can see, I'm definitely not touching my heels because it all depends on how tight those wrists are. But these are really important exercises to do. Good. Now go ahead and flip up, and then you're going to turn the wrists or the fingers out to the sides. And if you're just seated, right, and you're just pulling onto your wrists, just turn them out and then use the other hand to pull back. But if you're on all fours, you're just going to rock a little bit here, side to side. Good. And now we're gonna turn the fingers to face you with the palms still on the mat, or again, doing this with your fingers facing towards the floor if you're in a seated position. And again, just sinking back enough to get that stretch here in the wrist. Maybe just let your head drop down so you're not keeping any tension in the neck and the shoulders. Good, and then come all the way out of it. All right, go ahead and come into a nice comfortable seated position, whether that be on your neck, not on your neck, don't do that, on your knees or in a cross-legged position like this. All right, so, right, sitting up nice and tall, we're just gonna do some shoulder rolls. So coming forward, up and back, just we're gonna get into the neck just a little bit here. That's why I said neck, because we're moving on to neck stretches. Just loosening up that area just a little bit more. So now we've gone from our toes, our ankles, all the way to the head here. Now let the shoulders come down by your sides or come down your back. And then drop your left ear towards left shoulder. Good, lift up, drop right ear towards right shoulder. Good, lift up through center, do that again. Good, lift, and drop. And lift. Good. One more each side. Good. Okay, now drop left ear to left shoulder and hold it. Good, now take your right hand and place it on the outside of your head. Now, I want you to use this right hand not to push your head down, but just as a little extra weight, right? To just let your head naturally come maybe a little bit farther over towards that ear, over towards that shoulder. Good, or maybe we take the opposite hand and then let the weight, I feel I like this one better actually. Taking that hand and kind of gently, again, just let the weight of the hand pull it down. Don't really pull the neck down. And then you can tip your chin more towards your chest. And then with your spine still tall, you're gently again, just with the weight of the hand, letting the head come down just a little bit more. Good, coming all the way up. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. Right ear towards right shoulder. Good, take that opposite hand, bring it around the head, let the weight of that hand just gently bring that head down. Good, and then turn the chin down. So the hand comes towards the back of the head. Good, and then go ahead and bring the head all the way up. Sigh it out. How does that feel? How do you feel, right? We went through the whole body all the way up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I feel so much more relaxed now too. I don't know about you guys, that felt really, really good. So let me know what you thought below. If you're interested in adding a little bit more to today, I'm gonna go ahead and link a core workout here. Or if you wanna try something a little bit different, I'll do a standing Pilates workout here. This one includes some weights, which is a lot of fun. So go ahead and check those out. And thank you guys again for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow for day, let's see, 21. I'll see you then. Bye.